Okay then, so, hello for the first time in, I suppose nearly 2 years. No, more than 2 years. Our last proper video must have come out back end of the summer, 2018 I think it was. So yeah, a long time away from the cameras. I'm sure, as you know, life's not been particularly normal lately. Certainly not in my own case. Obviously start by addressing something which may be familiar to a lot of you already, but yeah, very sadly, incredibly sadly, last summer I lost my dearest and closest friend James. Obviously was core to what this channel was all about really. Sussex Carpers was always our thing, like to the point where we were not Josh and James, we were the Sussex Carpers. Yeah, I mean James touched everybody's lives that he entered really, and he lived life at a million miles an hour. There was nothing he dreamt of doing that he wasn't going to make happen one way or another. Yeah, I believe that he would have wanted me to carry this on. This channel is a bit of a legacy to him now. Days of footage that we recorded together that will always be permanently there, so yeah, I'm going to be forever grateful for that. If any of you haven't seen it already, sort of back in the winter I decided I was going to make a bit of a tribute video for him. I'll put the link in the description for this, and I'll pop it at the end of this video as well. If you'd like to celebrate James and celebrate the person he was, then I hope that is a fitting way of doing it. Thank you guys for being patient, and thank you for being your never-ending support, and thank you for like the awesome words of support I've had from sort of followers of our page and messages I had via Instagram and stuff. Like back when I needed it the most, it was exactly what I needed to hear. So yeah, that was really, really cool, and so I want to say thank you to all of you. Yeah, and I hope you enjoy this video. So I got back out on the bank back end of last year, and that's what I'm sort of going to show you in this video. I've been doing a lot more filming, trying to get back into my photography and stuff as well. But yeah, I've been on a few little sessions, and varying success. Got into some pike fishing and stuff as well, so I'll show you that later on in the video. I'm going to start with talking about first session I went on, which was early December. It was a trip to the Forest Lakes, which are a complex of lakes that are not far away from where I now live. Somewhere I fished sort of on and off for the last 3 or 4 years. Yeah, the main lake there was an obvious target for me, sort of back end of the year, and sort of looking over the winter, but it doesn't have particularly great winter form, so I turned my attentions to some of the other lakes. Took it back to basics really with my tactics, fishing rigs which had caught me fish at that venue before, but also pretty much everywhere I took them. Yeah, I had 2 rods, sort of to 2 spots, but being particularly mobile, fishing to signs of carp as the day went on. And yeah, sort of about mid-afternoon, I had a bite completely out of the blue. I've come down the Forest Lakes, fishing the second lake up with all the lily pads. I had a few fish from there in the summer, none as pretty as this one though, an absolute scaly banger, nearly a linear this side. It's absolutely freezing cold, so I'm going to get a few stills and we'll slip this one back. Sort of following that, I decided to put the carp rods away for a little while, sort of over Christmas and into the new year. Bought myself some lure fishing gear, some small jigs, just some lightweight stuff. I know a lot of the lakes there have a good number of pike in, so yeah, I sort of did a few trips. Took my girlfriend Lauren on the first one we did. Bitterly cold to the point where the water was freezing to the eyes as I was reeling back in. I thought maybe that's a bit too extreme. Yeah, went for a couple of sort of 2 or 3 hour trips, and on the last one, finally got lucky.
About that.
So, pre-baiting for carp today. Noticed a few pike kicking around in the margins. Thought, what the heck? Got the lure rod in the car. Gone for a little walk around, and yeah, sort of 4th spot. Flicked the lure to near a tree where it usually holds carp, but this little jack was gave me a proper little scrap on a light rod. But yeah, made up first pike. Get some snaps and slip it back.
I thought it was, now I've got that pike under my belt, I was going to get back into the carp fishing again. With the restrictions as they were at the time, I knew I had to stay local with my fishing, so I was actually very fortunate to have a few little waters around where I was, but I kept coming back to the forest lakes really. Final session of the season was with my mate Harry. Took him to a lake that actually I hadn't fished on the complex before. I knew it'd be busy closing weekend, so we sort of looked to one of the lakes which is a little bit less accessible. Unknown stock, but I'd seen a few carp cruising around before when I'd walked around it last summer. Once again, tactics were pretty simple. The lake itself was incredibly silty, so we knew it was going to be a case of something that we knew would be presented above the silt. I sort of understood that if the carp were feeding that they wouldn't mind getting their heads down a little bit. Began by fishing balance baits, sort of a 15mm bottom bait with a 10 to 12mm pop-up. It wasn't long before Harry had the first bite. It was actually, we'd seen a carp roll just to the right of us, only perhaps 3 or 4 rod lengths out. He repositioned the rod over where he'd seen it, handful of a ground bait over the top, something that would create a bit of a cloud to get them potentially grubbing around, sort of keep it in the area really. Absolutely just, the rod just bent double, absolutely crazy looking comment, massive overslung mouth. So yeah, very shortly after slipping that one back, the rod was back out again. The agreement was that I'd have the next bite, and I'd actually repositioned a rod to where I'd seen a big patch of fizzing. Sort of quite shortly afterwards, had a the rod pulled up like super tight, and yeah, this fish I hooked just wanted to take me in every single snag.
So come down to one of the top lakes at the Forest Lakes today. It's probably my last session of the winter. Ticket finishes in about 3 days, and with the uni work and stuff, I doubt I'm going to get back down here again. Down here with my mate Harry, we've literally just had pretty much a double hookup. I'm going to get those rods back out and hopefully carry on with what's been a very productive afternoon.
So yeah, that was a fish each. Both got one under our belt for the end of the season, which was really cool. Yeah, it wasn't long after we slipped that one back and the middle rod was away, and it was completely ripping line off the clutch. And by the time I'd hit into this thing, carp was well and truly gone. Yeah, that was followed by a gap of sort of 3 or 4 hours without a lot of action. Rain just bucketed it down. Just as we were sort of watching this really cool rainbow over the hill next to us, rod was away again. And this one was a really cool carp. This one was a special fish.
Well, that's a bit of a corker. How about that? Beautiful, pristine little common. Tell you what, did not know anything about this lake when we fished it today. I'd only ever seen a handful of carp swimming around in it. We've got a spot absolutely rocking now. We're going to get this rod straight back out. This was on a spinner rig, little pink pop-up. To have a beautiful carp like this, it's quite something. Yeah, absolutely made up. This is a mental fish, I love it. Get some snaps and we'll slip her back.
So yeah, after getting some cool stills of that and slipping that one back, we were pretty happy with that as a result for the day. But yeah, it carried on. But just as we were thinking packing up, we had another bite, and yeah, it was another mint little common. Looking forward, been spending more time on the bank lately, trying to suss a really tricky local water, trying to just make some headway amongst some really special fish. Planning on getting some sea fishing trips and stuff in whilst I'm down in Cornwall through June and July. And yeah, sort of just gonna try and really enjoy my fishing this year. I mean, it's heartbreaking to know that me and James won't be able to share these adventures together. Whatever happens, he'll live on in this channel, he'll live on in all the adventures that I go on, whether it be fishing, whether it be in life. So yeah, I'm hoping that this year can be a tribute to him. We've got this channel as a way of never forgetting those memories. Yeah, that's an honour. And yeah, love you lots, mate.